What's going on, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Cyberlete's Discord AMA. Today, we have some guests on the show that you might remember from the last Cyberspaces on Twitter. We have the team from Finnovant here with us today, and they're going to be giving us a deep dive into how their biometric system works. The main topic of this discussion is understanding how their system works and how it could integrate with Cyberlete's technology. So, guys, do you guys want to take the stage here and give our viewers some insight into how the Finnovant BioFi system works?
Sure, I'll jump in. This is Chris Benedict. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Um, so biometrics at its base, what do we do with that? The 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 SATEC or BioFi biometrics captures a user's or at registration captures elements of a person's voice and face, a lot of different data points, and then washes it through an algorithm, encrypts it, and secures it. Securely stores it so that that unique representation of that person is in an encrypted file. And depending on whether it is a device-based solution that would be broken up and stored on that device itself, or if it was more of a centralized or Web3 type of solution, it would still be encrypted and broken into different pieces, yet stored on a centralized server. So that's how it works at a very high level. It takes data points, it encrypts them, salts and hashes them through a variety of mathematical techniques, and then breaks them up and stores them in different pieces in different areas, so that even if anyone was able to find them, they'd not be able to reconstitute them and use them in any way, shape, or form.
Amazing. Sunam and Stolt, maybe you guys can chime in here and talk about your vision behind how all of this comes together and what that looks like.
Yeah, no problem. So the main reason is help eliminate bad actors. As we've said many times, these people will come into a scene, they'll make a username, and they'll scam the system pretty much. They'll use their cheats to win money from legitimate people. And sometimes they get the money and sometimes they get caught. And when they get caught, they just create a new account and they'll try it again the next time around. And they might get the money that time. So on our platform, this is going to help secure that. This is going to help make sure that no one's able to make multiple identities on our platform. This is going to give game developers assurance that, when they ban someone for cheating or when we ban someone for cheating, that they're not going to come back because they need to biometrically verify their face and their voice to play competitive games on Cyberlete.
This I'd like to add too that this stops like smurfing, so it can help a lot of different areas. So it helps like the competitive side, and it can help the casual smurfing. There's a lot you can do with it, per se.
Yeah, so
This
smurfing
is
would be like someone who plays at a grandmaster, the highest level in the game, and he has friends who are at the lowest level of the game. So he creates a new account and he wants to play with his friends. That's fun and all, except for his friends' lobbies are full of other people who are very new to the game. And so when he makes this new account, he's smurfing because he's the best player in the lobby and they're all very easy for him to kill. So it's given his friends basically a free win, and it increases their elo inside the game. And that puts them in a higher elo where they don't need to be because they're going to have a harder time winning without their friend.
My
one
bad.
thing I'd like to add to that is um, when I did the description of how the biometrics work, that was a very technical description. But really, what it does is it makes authentications a lot easier, right? It takes a lot of friction out of the authentication and verification process. So if you just compare simply to a traditional authentication experience where you use an ID and password, IDs and passwords can be shared. Hence what Stolte's talking about on smurfing. So if that's the only authentication method I need to use is hand my password and my ID off to somebody, that's really easy to share around. It's also at risk to be lost or stolen. The comparison with biometrics, once you enroll, it is a very simple authentication process where you have a camera and it captures a phrase that you speak, and boom, you're in, it's done. So it's unique, it's easy and low friction, but it's much more secure than the traditional methods of authentication out there.
You mentioned in the last cyberspaces, this question is for Team Finnovant, that there's different ways to customize your biometrics, right? Whether it's just only voice. And Stolte, you mentioned that players could possibly just talk into a headset while they're playing so that the game isn't disturbed. Can you talk about the different ways to customize your biometrics? And then Cyberlete, can you talk about how you guys might integrate this into your software?
Finnovant side, as far as voice and face biometrics go, we believe in the combined solution because it looks at the most number of data points. So we consider that the safest solution going forward. Looking at more data, obviously, it would be harder to defraud. However, based on the use case, you can certainly use voice alone, or you could use face alone. And in what Cyberlete is trying to accomplish, I can see implementations of any combination of those. So you can have someone log into a tournament using both their voice and face, and perhaps you could periodically validate that it's still them or authenticate them just through the camera. Doesn't have to interrupt their gameplay, and they may not even know what's going on. That's up to your terms and conditions, right? Or you can have them speak a phrase during that tournament. So again, it's not something that they have to take their eyes off the screen to do. So there can be several different ways of implementation to make sure that the person is indeed who they say they are.
A lot of these competitive gamers, they all have a webcam on top of their monitor observing their face anyways. So that's going to take care of the biometric part. And, we can make the phrase anything we want for Cyberlete. You say like player one ready. And as soon as he says that, that verifies his biometrics. That's, the two pairs match up. So they're ready to go. Now, if something doesn't match up, that's going to flag the system. That's going to tell the admin to say, we need to look into this. And then we might have that individual player redo the whole biometric setup, which is really fast and easy to do.
Sure, it is. And it gives you all that flexibility to either interrupt that person's gameplay, which maybe you don't want to do, but then you can, as you're saying, Shelby, you could then investigate further, see what needs to take place. And if you have a player who's problematic, then you can have whatever the thresholds you put in place to say if the person is problematic, maybe you need to take it even one step further before you bounce them out of the game or suspend them or whatever your process is.
And we'll figure that out, as time comes, and there might be a couple problems that pop up. And Jeff and I are fair people, Finnovant's fair, and we're gonna, figure out the best solution for everyone.
The idea here is to pardon me. The idea here is to protect competitive integrity at the foundation. So like we want to we want the integrity system to be there where these competitors are who they say they are, and just like an NFL type of system where you know who these players are who are playing in the leagues. It's just we just want to make sure it's the human thing.
This has been a real big deal lately in the past few years because of all the shutdowns there was. Stop the local events from happening. At the local events, you knew, hey, that's the pro player. He's sitting at his chair. That's him. But online, it might not be a pro player. It might be the pro player's brother playing and for him. And So this is really going to help the online scene mature and be validated. Because for a long time, the only way to truly prove your skill was to go and play at an event live in front of people. That's still true for the most part, but once we, establish this and get it going, that there won't be much difference between online and LAN local area event because of the biometric verification.
What happens to people who are caught trying to create multiple identities? Because I can imagine people are going to try it anyways, even if they know that there's a system in place.
Depends on how far what depends on how like what they're trying to disrupt. If they're trying to disrupt like the open level where there's not really much prizes to be given, the penalties, might be more of a warning and suspension and maybe a couple warnings. But if it's a pro player who has been in the scene a while and then he gets, let's say, one day he had a bad day, he had a bad idea, so he downloaded cheats and got caught cheating through the process. And he's like, dang, this really screwed up. I should go make a new account. Um, and he makes a new account. Well, he's still banned. He's not going to be able to play. And if it's, someone who isn't a pro player and doesn't have the same mindset, there should be more leniency for those people. There's a different understanding of the game at the pro level versus the amateur level.
And at the same time, we got to educate some of the amateur level to have this integrity, to take this in competitive integrity and make it like a thing. So just like in sports, just in general in sports, there's a competitive integrity amongst the athletes. It kind of comes down to this competitive integrity amongst the athletes on our platform. Also, they don't want to play with cheaters. They want to make sure who they're playing against. So we kind of are giving that home and building it.
How does that look like for the players? So, like, let's say I tried to cheat and create a second account. Does it just get flagged right away and just boot me out of the system? Do I get some sort of warning? What does that look like?
So as soon as you get flagged, that puts your account up for investigation. And when your account's up for investigation, you're going to have more security looking into your account. We just updated you from taking 100 snippets of your data to possibly 200 snippets of data to really nail down what is going on. It also depends on how far you took that. If you're just playing casually games and you're cheating casual people, what that's going to do is that's going to lower your gamer score. Um, so, say your perfect gamer score is 100, and now you've done this for a while. Now your gamer score is down to 70. Well, none of these people have been banned yet, but they do have low gamer scores. So it's not going to be good for you because it's going to put you in the same category as these other people, 70 gamer scores, and you're not going to be, in the more legit games. You're not going to be where the clean gameplay is. You're going to be in more of a skeptical zone, and you have to work your way back into.
So the players using the Cyberlete application will have like an honest system rating.
They'll have like a score that's like a profile score based on if they've cheated or not, based on the anti-cheat. So like
And maybe the Finnovant team can take the stage here and can you explain to everyone like how quickly is the response from this? How fast can you guys catch this this like bad actor uh, activity, and how does that work?
I'll give you an example to work with. So say you got two brothers playing, one's really good, say one's 7, One's 13. And the 7-year-old's playing. He's new to the game, not very great yet. But he wants his 13-year-old brother to play so he can win this big match and go to the next level. Well, the 7-year-old, if he's playing in a league and he's got his webcam set up, he will have to sit in front of his computer screen or Xbox TV and play. And this is where BioFi can step in. How fast that would actually.
It can
We're
catch
not
the
gonna run-
person at the. It
Go
can
ahead.
catch the person at the next authentication. So
Right.
it really will depend on how often a re-authentication happens. So let's look at it this way. I'm going to make an assumption that in order to set up an account, you would go through the registration process. The registration process to set up that 7-year-old's account would include some sort of biometric authentication. He'd go through the enrollment, or she'd go through the enrollment and, speak the phrase and have it capture the properties of the face and voice, and then store that. Once that person authenticates to enter a game or a competition or something like that, again, it depends on how the environment is set up. Once there's that next authentication opportunity, it can flag that person right then and there. So if they've played 2 or 3 rounds and they're going into the next round to advance, and you want to initiate that re-authentication for all players, then you go ahead and do that. Or if there's a way to monitor that someone is playing above their skill level or what you've seen them in the past, then you can just kick off an authentication. And if the person, literally that person will have to re-authenticate right then and there. And if they're not able to, they're caught right away. If the older brother is playing in that situation and you send them an authentication request that has to be done immediately, and they don't complete it, or they would fail it if they try to complete it.
Right. Because it's not continuously authenticating you on the camera as you're
It
playing.
is not. It is not. Now, that's something you could probably build on a periodic basis or on a random basis. That's something that Cyberlete could implement if
Yeah,
they
I like your
wanted
idea
to.
with the stats. Like if you have a big stat increase, like, okay, now that's a sign to kick off re-authentication. I think that's a really good idea.
You could tie it to whatever you like, right? Whenever you think something's out of pattern for re-authentication, or you can just do it periodically. The probably the best way to catch a cheater is to do something on a randomized basis. But again, you can look at it, a myriad of different ways. What makes sense to the gaming community? And I'm not a gamer, so if I go down the wrong path on things like this, you guys can feel free to straighten me out.
Will do. You're doing a great job, though.
Okay.
So I have a question actually towards Finnovant. So what about if it during a count the profile? So like say they we know that when you play on Cyberlete, you have to authenticate biometrically to play in the leagues. So if you create a new account, you couldn't do that based on could you do that? Could you create another account with the same biometrics, or would that be another flag? Like, hey, this guy already has biometrics in the system. Why is this account being created twice?
Well, it depends on what your KYC policy is when people sign up. Do you ask for some sort of independent authentication against a piece of ID? Are you looking at people's driver's license or another piece of ID and tying that to them so that you know it is indeed that person? Or is it really just a user ID and a biometric authentication? If that's the case, there's a different process we'd have to put in place to take a look for that biometric. Does that biometric already exist? That's a different process that we can look for, but it's in fact what we've done with Governor Dow for their proof of existence token. But that is a different solution than the on-device or browser-based that we've been talking about.
Heard. Cool.
So I think we just set it up as if someone created a new account and they went to biometrically verify and said, hey, this guy already has an account. It would just stop you right there in that process. Wouldn't let you go to the next step.
I think that would be pretty cool, actually, to do it that way. To where So like a competitor, if he already had a token from, now this is just something that could be future thought. I think that'd be pretty cool.
What about if a user wants to change their username?
No, that's no problem. You just change your username.
Yeah. You just won't be able to
That's
change your like Steam profile name. You have to attach your game accounts or something like that. So we know like what your game account is, but your
yeah, you
username
change
on.
your name, but your account information stays the same.
Got it. I do want to open up the mic to some of our audience members. But before we do that, do you guys want to just summarize your guys' partnership together, just for a recap for everybody?
Well, I'd really like for Cody to demonstrate like how easy it actually is for us to biometrically verify and how quick that process is. If you could just
Yeah,
give Cody a minute or two to get that ready, he'll share his screen.
definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the first the POC of kind of how the biometrics can integrate with an account, or how the sign up, how simple it can be, and show you what that can look like. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Bounce over to the observation page. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, give it a minute for people to join. We got two people in here so far, four people.
Oh yeah. So if you'll casually join in the chat that you're in now, your Discord, to the share screen option. You'll be able to see what I'm looking at. You'll see my 1,000 emails and the Cyberlete machine ID. So the way that the implementation of SATEC works with Cyberlete, it takes the biometric hash of your face and voice, and it compares that and aligns that with your device's identification. So whether you're on your Mac or your Xbox or whatever game you're in, each individual device would have a machine ID. So now this would prevent you from, say, um, you know, uh, trying to gamify which device you're on, or if you burned out a device, or if you were to end up cheating on a device and tried to switch to another one, had your brother sign up, use that machine. No, your machine gets burned as well as your ID when you do cheat in this uh, in with the anti-cheat or in the metaverse or etc. So now I'm going to go ahead and throw on the start preview. You can kind of see it just grabs a user ID number that was randomized with this. It's going to go ahead and confirm my machine ID. It'll pop up. Your Finnovant.net says complete. Confirm. Start the preview button. Then I'm going to go over here to my enrollment. So now my wallet. I have confirmed this device before, so we'll see what this is going to give me a plugin. BioFi keeps my information safe. BioFi keeps my information safe. BioFi keeps my information safe. And all three biometrics have been. We are enrolling on your server now. May take a second to complete. Yesterday or Friday when we tested this, it snapped right away. So my device may already be key with the user. Okay, nope. See, so I'm in. You successfully completed your BioFi enrollment. So you can see the longest part of that was actually taking my biometrics, taking the signature with the inputs. So what they do is they verify all three of those together. They make it so that it's immune to deep fakes or resistant to deep fakes, or takes the couple hundred biometric endpoints, hashes that. So now with your phrase, so this is a phrase that can be changed intermittently. It can't just be anything, but it can be any phrase that does hit the vocal points and recognition patterns in your voice that does make you a unique individual. So they will give you enough consonants and phrases that will lock in with your signature. That is hashed, connected with your machine ID, and now that is the HTTP sign on for Finnovant's setup for Cyberlete and the Cyberlete machine ID. So just that simple.
Thank you. And Cody, don't you guys have one of your lead developers? Wasn't they uh, an engineer for NASA for a while, and now they're working with you on the biometrics?
He worked for IBM, who does a lot of the back end security um, the on how the infrastructure for all the uh, devices and the biometrics and the apps, those types of things.
He's made a really amazing project, and it's really easy and simple to use, and that's why we chose. One of the reasons why we chose this is because it's going to be so easy for gamers to use. It's not gonna be a pain in the ass for anyone.
And the UI UX will be upgraded to be more fluent. So right now it's POC MVP type of status. So eventually, like when you guys get it in your hands, it will be fluent and the UI will look great.
Yeah, so this would be something that can preface or integrate with something like a Steam dashboard, or a Blizzard dashboard, or Blizzard launcher, or any of these types of games. You can preface and connect your accounts, being able to load up into some sort of Cyberlete launcher with either a Web 2 hook, HTTP hook, or any sort of on device that might be needed.
Yeah, that was amazing how quickly that captured the signature with your voice and biometrics. That was pretty awesome to see that.
I'd like to
Yeah,
add too, Finnovant's crazy with this too. So like when they said anti deepfakes, like you could not shave for a little bit and it will recognize you. So like on my Apple iPhone, it will fail because I didn't shave. So it's just like the difference is crazy.
and it'll learn and grow with you over time as well. Yeah, so it's very, very cool.
Crazy. Yeah, if anybody has a question that they'd like to ask either the Finnovant team or the CyberLeet team, feel free to unmute and fire away your questions while we're here. Um, and maybe I can start with one question that we see a lot in the community. So maybe the CyberLeet team could address this here. We're getting a lot of emails, or not emails, but questions about the private rounds. Can you guys address that? Because we're seeing a ton of those questions.
We received around 1,000 emails. We wanted to raise $157,000. We got almost 1,000 emails, and it's really hard to try to get everyone involved. We pretty much have the people selected. We haven't emailed this out yet because we're trying to come up with a way that's super fair for everyone. Part of the thing is when we do come out, the price is still going to be super low. So those who didn't get in on this original seed of 157, they're still going to get in for that super low price. And on top of that, we are doing an NFT release. And on this NFT release, it's going to be a pretty big deal. There's going to be 13,337 of them. So this is one of the solutions that we've come up with to try to help out everyone who tried to get in on the private sale. It's the best way we can come up with. You get a similar price to when we hit Launchpad. And if you don't get on the Launchpad, you'll still be able to get NFTs.
Nice. Did the people that did get in on the private round, were they emailed already, or do they just sit tight and wait to
Those
hear
people
from you?
were emailed already.
Okay, so it's the people who haven't gotten the email yet. You guys are figuring out a solution to make things fair and still um, give them a way to participate.
Right. We probably should have asked for a lot more than 157,000. I didn't realize that there was so much interest in the community. And since there is, we are pushing out this NFT art, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be I'll give away some alpha of, I guess. So we're creating a storyline, and the NFT art's going to be based off this storyline that we're making, and the story is going to be basically a story teaching people how to use Web3. It's going to teach people what blockchain is. It's going to be educational purpose type of story. And these characters, there'll be probably about 8 different characters, 9 different characters, and they'll have different, attributes and such. Also, these NFTs will have early access to our beta website, which we have the UI UX being finished now. So if you were to go to beta.cyberlete.net now, you'd see our old MVP, and that's being completely re-updated right now to make it looks a lot better now. It does. And so these NFT holders will be able to take part in an exclusive beta site, and these people will be early reward, or they'll be able to get early rewards because they're using our anti-cheat and they're training our AI system and whatever other perks that might come. But you're also earning LEET because you're you're participating in the system. And you don't have to play a hardcore game like Counter-Strike or Valorant. You can play browser games. You can play chess or, Flappy Birds and still earn LEET token through providing your data to our machine learning anti-cheat cloud.
Which I just want to say here is our LEET token. Then, like, what we're trying to do is reward these gamers for the data, like he's saying. I just want to emphasize that the gamers will be rewarded for their data, so turning them into gamerpreneurs or datapreneurs. That is kind of the idea here. And as these users continue to, put their data into the anti-cheat, it helps. It definitely.
I love
And
that.
this is how we're giving back.
Gamerpreneur. I love that.
Super important. Right now, gamers are... So Diablo just released a game called Diablo Immortal. And if you want to max out your character, it's going to cost you $110,000 to max out your character in that game. And you do not own a single item of that. You're not allowed to sell any of those items. You sell those items, you get banned, and you lose that $120,000 account that you just paid for. And that's not what datapreneurs are about. Our data is valuable, and people in general need to know how valuable their data is. Facebook, Twitter, all these major social media sites are making billions and billions of dollars every single year. And has anyone in this lobby been paid by Facebook for their data or by Twitter? No, they don't want you to know how valuable your data is. And Cyberlete is pushing to show you how valuable your data is. We're saying, hey, your data is valuable, and we're going to show you that by rewarding you for it. And that's going
I
to open
love
up the eyes to a lot of people. It's going to start with the younger generations, and that's going to go up, and they're going to grow up knowing that their data is valuable. And it's going to force other companies to start rewarding people too.
That's amazing. $110,000 to build out your character. I mean, are they just buying
One
things within?
character.
Are
It,
they buying things within the game to do that?
so so it's like you buy these, like, it's based on there's a science to it. So they're doing it on purpose. They make you buy max out. They make you feel like you need to buy all this stuff to max your character out, because if you don't and you play the free way, you get locked at certain levels based on, like, Blizzard's way of controlling the economy of the game. So Blizzard will slow your experience down or penalize you for playing the game. At a say, like, you're just a grinder. You're just somebody who's gonna grind the game nonstop. They're gonna penalize you eventually for that, to the point where you're not even gonna earn experience in the game unless you spend money. So it's like, it doesn't even work for the casual gamer. So, like, it's a very terrible system.
Seems illegal to me, but I'm not.
Yeah, it seems totally illegal to me too.
Yeah, they're basically forcing your hand to spend money on the game if you want to continue to get to that
There's
next level.
There are
What's really
people.
It's only
dirty is
110,000, guys.
the dirty part
Yeah.
about it is Blizzard has reached out to these top streamers that are playing the Diablo Immortal and given them the $120,000-$200,000 to buy all this stuff. And they got 20,000 to 80,000 people watching them. And most of the people watching them don't have $120,000 to drop, but they have $50 that they can drop so they might get something cool. The streamer, he's just throwing money at the game like it's no problem. And that kind of makes the user feel like he should be doing the same thing. I think that's kind of wrong.
And at the same time that these users are watching it, the in-game experience is like 99 cents for a little bit of coin that you need to spend $5 for. Oh, by the way, you need to spend $10 here because you have 360 and you needed 365. So it's like this huge like conundrum of like social science used against the user the whole time, and I just don't agree with it at all.
I mean, you see this everywhere too. It's not even just Diablo. You see that in Roblox. You see that in Fortnite, where people are forced to buy certain things. Um, it's just crazy how things are evolving like that.
Well, in this particular game, Diablo Immortal, this particular game, it is like you're paying to play the game. So like they could just be giving you this like, for instance, they could just give you this stuff. Like back in 1990, early 2000s, game developers would be creating new things and new marketplaces, and they'd be happy that they had the ability to put it on a disc and send it to your house. And now game developers are like, how can we find a way to put more money in between here? Oh, let's get this cool marketplace thing that you could use anywhere in Diablo Immortal, but you have to spend $9.99 a month for it. Instead of just giving it to everybody, they charge you for that experience. So your experience sucks unless you spend the money. So I think that should be completely wiped out. And there are many games like this, but not as like Blizzard is a really big wig coming in, and a very terrible example.
Blizzard,
I
who
mean,
got bought out by Activision, who got bought out by Microsoft.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and they're doing that on purpose. Like it's the worst rated game at this point in time in history. It's a 0.2. Like it's the worst. It's worse than the remake of
Immortal
Warcraft 3.
is?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my god. I didn't know you could get that low.
I didn't
It's the
either.
worst score ever.
Ever in the history like of
Well,
any
guys,
game.
I had a question. What can Cyberlete do to help combat that specifically?
So just a general idea is when you have user accounts that are backed by Web3, these NFT items they could potentially become, a part of your wallet. They become a part of your account. They become a part of your experience. So now instead of like you wasting money, you can trade or do something.
Okay,
But it takes Web3 to do that. You can't do this on a centralized server.
right.
You can in the old Diablo fashion, but you're still adding like this third party of like eBay or some form system to then do this trading, which you could just do with Web3 in the game.
Right.
It's kind of like saying, yeah, you could, spend $120,000 on this game and not own a single piece of item. Or you could play a different game that's very similar to it. And if you wanted to spend $120,000, you could. But the thing is, now you own all $120,000 items, so you could individually sell these items out to other players.
Right, I get
Really
all
got rid of
that.
the
I talk
game.
about that kind of stuff a lot myself. I own a ton of cosmetics in a certain games, and I have a lot of content talking about how they should be NFTs and stuff. So that's cool. What about like the time gating nature that you guys were talking about? Time gating, if no one knows, it's the technical term that gamers use for being held back for not spending money. And the games that differentiate, like how Diablo makes you pay to win, so to speak, whereas some games are more cosmetic only, like Fortnite. And are you guys is Cyberlete positioned to be able to like attack the true beast of like what Diablo and like Lost Ark and those are doing, where they literally like what you guys have
We
already
can only
described?
teach people what their value is. When we teach someone what their value is, they're not going to want to play a game like Diablo because they
Right.
know that game is worthless to them.
Right. Yeah, I won't come near that with a 100-foot pole, so that's cool. Okay.
Educating the user is the biggest thing in this at this point in time to combat that lottery type of time sink type of game with money.
Right.
A lot of it
Cool.
too is like addiction. So like some people just are addicted to that experience and they need to step away from it in a general aspect. And just being taught that it is a gambling thing could open your eyes to get help in that area.
Okay, so the focus is like education oriented. Cool.
Yeah, because we can't make Blizzard stop. We can't make these other companies stop. We can't make Fortnite make their skins NFTs.
Right.
But we can educate the user in a way where they know the difference between
There's better
what's
choices
done and
out
what's
there,
not.
basically.
Exactly.
And as network effects work, if enough people don't use them anymore, they'll finally have no other choice but to stop doing what pissed off every gamer to leave them.
Correct. And hopefully at that point, we are the home combating for all the gamers out there because Stolty and I are gamers and we're doing this for all the gamers out here.
Awesome.
Whereas
Cool.
if
Cool.
myself personally, I've spent thousands of dollars in skins and such. And when I read about Bitcoin and started getting into Web3, I stopped buying skins in games because it's disgusting to me now. It's like, why would I want to do that? I can't give the skin to anyone. I can't technically sell my account for the skins without, possibly getting the account banned, whoever I sold it to.
Right. You have to break terms of service, which that's all intended. Yeah. So like, I have around $1,000 of stuff on Fortnite myself, and it's funny because technically I'm licensing the stuff and I don't own any of it. So yeah.
Well, that's neat that you guys created NFTs now because now you actually own the stuff that you're buying.
Oh, hey, wait. So I'm segueing into another thing now, actually, but it's related. So education for gamers, and NFTs. Gamers generally they need NFTs in games, but they also don't know why they need NFTs in games, and they're one of the loudest groups saying keep NFTs the hell away from our games.
And
So
that's
that education thing is going to be really important because that's I mean they need to understand that NFTs are not the same thing as paying to win, and I'm pretty sure they lump them all together as the same thing. And it's like, so we need crypto and NFTs and like anything related to gaming and crypto really has a big job to like educate people about exactly how NFTs can be a savior, and they're not nothing bad.
agreed.
And
Yeah.
Cody and Finnovant and us are actually working on something that's really going to be game changing. Like this 13,000 FT release we're doing. You're going to be able to take these models and put it into Doge Run. And in Doge Run, you're going to have various types of mini games. You're going to have like tower defense games. You're going to have arena games. There's all sorts of games we have planned. And you're using your actual, NFT in the game. And if you, let's say you have the Cyberlete character and you bought a plasma NFT rifle, you have that in the game, and you're able to shoot the alien blobs or whatever with that. And say you get tired of that plasma rifle, you could sell it on the marketplace and buy like a machine gun turret or something that shoots the aliens even faster. And once people start realizing that, I think it's going to open the floodgates of knowledge.
Touche.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I do want to kind of circle the conversation back to, our Finnovant, our guests are here. Is there anything you guys want to add to this conversation?
No, I think we've been in a pretty good, space over time, and we really appreciate the questions and the build up around what we've been doing and what we've been in conversation over 6 months or something like that about how we're working towards something, and we're really proud of the Cyberlete team and their development, and being able to aid in proving those unique users. And this is something that speaks to a lot of our, a lot of the devs on the Finnovant side. Jordo, Tyler, myself, who are avid gamers who have spent our whole lives, who basically, a lot of my business management experience came from running guilds in World of Warcraft, right? So once all your people skills and all those types of things are, becoming a new evolution, and you're seeing the way that these companies that you've seen your whole life, they become even more soulless, less, yeah, more soulless, and they're being bought out by this company and that company, and their game quality is going down, and they're still cranking up the amount they're taking in, but they're not developing into the performance aspect, and you don't own anything that you're actually playing with. People who've spent hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars in games, and being able to move those over into the NFTs, and being able to prove unique users and prove that in the gaming space is very valuable, and we're happy to be doing it.
Congratulations on your guys' token launch, by the way. For our viewers that are watching, where can they go to get more information on the BioFi token?
The BioFi token, the best bet is the biometricfinancial.org. Biometricfinancial.org. You have the link to our rewards page and our current NFT mint, and all the Twitter as well, at Finnovant, at FINNOVANT is the best way to keep up with our updates. We actually just had an announcement from Chainlink today about Chainlink pushed out our article around Doge Run VRF, and we've got some more information coming to that. Another update is our Unis Safe Box has been approved in the Apple Store as of today, so you can go get the Unis Safe Box on the Apple App Store, as well as the APK from our website. And we have a couple more announcements that are coming down the pipeline that are pretty big. They're global, international in nature. So really excited with all the new developments that have been coming around. And honestly, when these new leads keep coming in, I'm just like I'm impressed myself. So really happy for the future of this project.
Perfect. And we'll include all that information in the bio. And for those of you guys that just joined, this is being recorded, and so you'll be able to see the playback on our YouTube channel. And to conclude this, Stolte and Sunam, do you guys want to give a closing statement, some thoughts, what people can look out for, etc.?
Actually, I want to share. We will be doing another Gleam campaign, and Finnovant has said they will give $50 in BioFi token. So basically, you follow Cyberlete, you follow BioFi, Finnovant, Twitter, you join our YouTube, you join our Discord channels, and that'll give you, tickets, and that'll put you in the running to win, $50 in BioFi. And I think Cody even said something about
Well, no,
maybe
we
an NFT.
actually, I think we forgot we want to do a Doge giveaway from somebody in the group here. So why don't we pick was it Nico? Nico, did you ask a good question? I think if we want, Nico's not a part of our team, not a part of your team. If Nico, you want to shoot over the ad or your address, you have won an AVAX Classic Doge.
Which address? My MetaMask?
Yeah, your MetaMask, your AVAX address.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll give you a Classic Doge there. And once those tracks go live, you'll be able to jump on the tracks with some BioFi.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right. Yeah, anything else you guys have?
We'll get that Gleam set up, and you should see it later today and in the last couple days. And good luck.
Where could
to all
people go
those.
to? Where could people go to see the Gleam giveaway that you guys are doing?
On Twitter at Cyberlete.
Yeah, we'll post it in a little bit.
Perfect. You guys heard it here. So stay on the lookout. Make sure you guys are following Finnovant on Twitter. Make sure you guys are following Cyberlete on Twitter. And make sure you guys check out the YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so that you can see these videos as soon as they come out. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was a really great conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
guys.
Thanks for having us. We love breaking in with the Cyberlete guys. Love the progress and very bullish on the future.
Definitely. Thanks for having us, guys. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Love talking to you.
Awesome. We'll talk soon.
Great job, guys.
Ciao.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone have a nice day.